So let's recap what we've been talking about. This week I've been saying not to trade Bitcoin, to rather lower your positions and kind of hang back on the markets. Let's see if that advice was good advice. I mean, it is Wednesday already, so that's 2 days of great advice coming from here. I'm just looking at the 2048, seeing what needs to happen next. I still believe that price is nominating its travel line. They can tell these two didn't make the cut. And to confirm this, let's drop down to the 512. Now 4 is in. You can tell there's quite a shallow high or low and quite a small high as well. There's been that very unappealing uptrend that's been happening. It came to the end of its transition on the higher frame. Now it's moving to the downside, and here it is stuck in kill zone. Running through the analysis, let's start from the top and move our way down. Okay, trend direction. As you know, it's up, but not really. It's up out of obligation. All right, so 4 is just above 2. I don't think we're going to get 5 above 3 because of the higher frame. So immediately what I see is that that's not going to happen. Okay, so let's do that a bit more. Where price is already formed, it can't form behind there. So that's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure that this is the turning point. Anything underneath there is not going to happen. And I'm certainly not going to see price go into the next cycle. Not on this market. So that's what we got to work with. Price has already gone that high, so we can start honing in a bit. And let's continue the analysis. All right, so turning point spacing is looking good. We're looking for 5. I mean, I can even bring this in a bit further to about there. All right, so this is what we're doing. We are highlighting the non-probability to identify the area of highest probability, and in that highest probability area, we expect price to go. Turning point spacing, we've spoken about. Scaling, I'm happy with. The kill zone, happy with. The time projection, there's our 50 and there's our cube roots. So we can bring that down. I think that might be a little tight. I'm not entirely sure if this is the best turning point. It might be here in 3 days, so that's something to keep our focus on. Or alternatively, if it does go a little higher to cube root 2, it could go to about there. So that's going to give us an answer in either 3 days, which will probably be like Saturday, or 6 days, which will be around next Monday. Okay, so those are the 2 thresholds we're waiting to see a price drop down from. Oscillator is kind of a switch, but very flat over there. I just want to see in terms of sine wave which works the best. Just by hovering your mouse over the marker, you're going to see lines take you into the different thresholds. So that's not a bad intersection with the peak of that sine wave. And that's actually not a bad intersection with the trough of that sine wave. So both options are still very valid there. From a price projection perspective, we are looking at the 0.5. All right, so price is starting to push our probability towards the second option over here. I want to take that away for now and then start focusing on that as the option. In terms of the further price confirmations, if you're a higher study student with MTOPS, just simply hit the F button on your keyboard and it'll bring out the gang grid. So if I go from the midpoint of this transition and line it up to there, it's going to get closer to this environment. So maybe we can start looking at the probabilities here and reverse the GAN so that we can start to see where price interacts with most. And that looks pretty good to me. If none of that made sense, then continue your journey on the markets and with MTOPS, and it will make sense eventually. Just obviously get to there eventually. For me, that's super easy and it makes perfect sense. All right, so this is a nice confirmation. Well, in other words, probably 23,000 in 6 days. That's what this forecast is saying. So let's clean it up again and bring it back to something you can recognize. Support and resistance pretty much is along the 1/1 and arc 3. Moving down to the 128 to see if that backs up our findings. Yeah, we got 4 over here, also slightly above 2, so indication of price going to break 3, because that's what the trend directional change is. It's higher lows and then higher highs, giving us an uptrend, and this suggests uptrend. I'm not convinced on the scaling. I'm going to go a bit bigger here because of all the space that we need to cover for that environment. If I just make some micro adjustments to make everything line up, We're still in kill zone, and I think that's as good as it's going to get until later on. So let's see what happens there. I'm not going to redo the forecast over here in its totality, so I'm pretty interested to see what happens with the 512, and I don't necessarily want to create information overload for myself. So this is what it looks like to have Bitcoin go to 23,000 over 6 days. I just look at the price over here. You'll see it says 23,000, and look at the time at the bottom. It will say it's in 6 days at the bottom. And there is a probability that this could work out. So I should maybe just leave a marker there to see how it unravels, and then we can move down to the 32. Price is getting interesting here on the 32. Doesn't seem as if it's broken out the kill zone. That could be because it doesn't want to travel up that line or up that line over there. So, wow, that was really close. And now I got rejected from both options. And I think it will start to choose something more reserved. This 1/2 to the downside. What remains, guys, is that there's a lot of kill zone action over here. A lot of slow ranging markets. There isn't a great deal of opportunity in Bitcoin at this time. It's going to gradually move along to fulfill its obligations on the market, and then probably turn to the downside next week. Obviously, we trade Bitcoin, well, we chart Bitcoin every single day, so I'll keep you updated if there's any progress on that. But if you're only a crypto trader, then I suggest you just take it easy until next week. And until then, perhaps start spending some time on the Dow Jones or gold. We're obviously introducing Forex. Right now, we're looking at the pound and yen Forex combo. So just maybe try yourself on one of the other markets. Maybe you fall in love with them as much as I have on the Dow Jones. All right. Have a great day further, guys, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Ciao for now.